we call it as slum, correct? So when you say slum means which city is a very good example for a slum in India? Mumbai. Mumbai means what location is that? Dharavi, correct? Why it came in news recently? Okay, regarding this corona spread. So what happened in Dharavi again? Is that corona being stopped there or what is happening in Dharavi? Since that you know that during that corona time, Dharavi got the impact, but lately found out that it's getting reduced. What will be the reason for that? Anyone gone through the news article? One of the reason why the corona spread a lot in Dharavi? Very congested, correct? So how corona spreads is, we know that when there is a human contact, it spreads a lot. But but you can see that spreading in Dharavi reduced a lot. Can you say why? Huh? One is herd immunity, correct? How they got this herd immunity? Straight in.
You are in the Zoom meeting now. This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. So one aspect is they say about Dharavi is the audio video clear for you online? Bangalore Center is audio video clear? Okay. So my question is, Dharavi got a herd immunity, correct? How they are able to get that herd immunity? And it's not related to UPSC, but sometimes this can also be a mains question, correct? How especially in slum areas, corona spread has stopped a lot. Herd immunity is okay. How the herd immunity is? Everyone is exposed to the virus, and what they say is Dharavi is, we say that it's not with all basic necessities. Sometimes this is also an advantage for a human. So what they said is already they are exposed to a lot of viruses. So this doesn't have a biggest impact. Actually, what government thought in Dharavi is it's going to spread very fast. But literally what happened is after a point of time it stopped. One reason is the human body in Dharavi is more exposed to a lot of viruses. That is one. And apart from this, government efforts. So government also made a lot of efforts in that area. Okay. Slum means, okay, a living space without basic amenities can be called as slum. What are other problems in slum? One is diseases, we know what are other problems in slums? Congestion is slum, correct? But what are other problems? Like this is one problem. We see that Dharavi and Corona. Traffic congestion is one. Any other problems apart from, think from administrative angle. If you are an administrator, education, okay, education is one, okay, sanitation is one. Sanitation results in diseases, okay, apart from this, from administrative angle. If you say slum means one, you can relate with diseases. So that is the biggest problem in slum. People are very closely packed and spread of disease is very high. And apart from slum is also known for crime. So can anyone say why slum is related with crime? Why slum is related with crime? Unemployment, poverty. Then what is the other advantage for slum people to involve in crime? What are the other advantages? Poverty is one, that's correct. They doesn't have any other economic sources, so they want to involve in antisocial activities. Another advantage is these are the people without identities, correct? So what the advantage for them is they can do a crime in one slum, move to the next slum. So that is the advantages for them. So one, urban development you can relate with slums. Then apart from this, any other thing we can relate with slums? Any other thing apart from this? Urban development. One is slum is a problem. Then apart from this, urban India, transport. So that what we can put it as infrastructure bottlenecks. So one of the biggest problem in urban India is infrastructure bottlenecks, correct? Infrastructure bottlenecks, you can put it as road network, so water, all are infrastructure bottlenecks, correct? So even in urban India, we don't have a basic infrastructures. Whether you accept it. Basic infrastructures. Okay, a good way of saying that is that we have toilets in urban India. Toilets. As a common man, is that we have toilets in urban India. As we have, take Anna Nagar, is that in Anna Nagar we have toilets, proper toilets. We always curse people, correct? In public places, they are going toilets, correct? But no one thought that why they are doing like that. You go and check any urban India, there will be no proper toilets. Infrastructure bottlenecks is there, correct? Roads and water. The next thing is, any other problems in urban India apart from this? Any other problems? So environment, next biggest problem has put pollution. Pollution is another biggest problem in urban India. And which pollution is the biggest problem right now for urban India's? Air pollution, correct? Air pollution. Which city comes into news because of air pollution? What is the reason for air pollution in Delhi? This is once a mains question. Probably they will not ask it. One is landlocked. How landlocked is a reason for pollution? Okay, I'm asking a question why they said that landlocked is a reason for Delhi pollution. Can you say why? Compared to Chennai, Mumbai and Kolkata, why Delhi has a air pollution problem? That's the geographical reason is correct. But why this landlocked character is there? Is that they taught in geography classes, wind breeze or land breeze, sea breeze, correct? So that is not there in Delhi. So that is one of the reason. And apart from this, automobiles is the basic reason and farmers stubble burning, correct? So pollution is one. Air is not the only problem in urban India. Even we can put noise pollution. Noise is another biggest problem in urban India, correct? Noise pollution. Then apart from this, any other thing regarding urban India? Employment with low wages, or you can put that as in India we speak a lot about poverty and we always relate poverty with rural areas, correct? But urban poverty is also biggest problem in India, urban poverty. Okay, that's we can relate with slums also. Then any other problems in urban India apart from this? Your observation. These seems to be the problems in urban India. As you are exposed to urban India, so you feel that this is not good here, this need to be changed. Any other thing apart from this? Road traffic, that put us as infrastructure bottlenecks, road and water. One of the biggest problem in urban India, correct? So infrastructure bottlenecks are there. Next we can also put clash of value systems. What does clash of value system means? We know that in India right now we have migrations, rural to urban migrations. When people in rural area comes and settle in urban India, there is also a clash of value systems. What does clash of value system means? Urban ideas is very different from rural ideas, correct? Personally, how you can give an example for this clash of value systems? I'll say one problem in India, how it happened. Can anyone say in your personal experiences, you say, okay, it's urban India, it will be like this only. Any good examples like that? Take an example of smoking. Rural India smoking, especially in any family, it's accepted. Most of the time, no, correct? In urban India, you can see that women smoking, correct? How many of you saw that? For the first time. Women smoking in urban India, correct? What will be the first reaction for that? What will the first reaction is? We'll amaze, correct? We are in India or not? Probably you can take selfie and put in Facebook or WhatsApp, correct? And if you go for Bangalore, it will be very dominant. In Bangalore, there is no gender difference. Bangalore and all, correct? Women not only smoke there, even they have a drink, correct? If you go for pubs in Bangalore and all, you can see that women having a drinking also there. They'll have a drink. Ultimately, you get the shock, cultural shock, correct? Similarly, can you say in which services you can see that cultural shock? Even if you're getting into civil services, in which services that you can see that cultural shock? Not IPS. IPS will not have a cultural shock. Especially in foreign services, correct? Assume that you are a guy or a girl born and brought up in tier 2 cities. What is tier 2 cities means? For example, if you take Tamil Nadu, Madurai, Trichy, correct? Like the tier 2 cities, you got into foreign services and you are posted in Paris, France, correct? What are the culture in France? What about the culture in France? They call it as wine and dine. What does wine and dine means? So before have a food, you need to have a drink. And for the first time, if you are taking a drink, who will be the person coming in front of you? For the first time, you're having to have a drink, correct? It's a part of foreign services. You need to do it, correct? Who will be the first person coming in front of you? When you have, for the first time, you're taking a champagne or anything, who will be the first person coming into your mind is? Not parents is one. Apart from parents, you can see your mother, correct? You're doing a wrong thing. Put your glass down, correct? Similarly, another thing is when you go for Paris and all, how people greet there. Right now in India, we say Namaste. Entire world is right now practicing it, but pre-corona time and all, correct? How people will greet you. If you are in Paris, an Indian diplomat representing there, and how the people will greet you. Okay, there is no gender difference and all. They come and hug you, kiss you on cheeks, correct? Assume that you are a guy from Madurai. Okay. Never have a chance of interacting with the opposite sex. Okay. And if you interact with the opposite sex, you know how they'll treat you, correct? The next year you are posted in Paris and a girl comes and kiss you on your cheeks, correct? That too a French girl, correct? Good looking. So what the next thing you will do is, take a photograph, correct? And put in Facebook saying that this is the reason I'm in foreign services. That's a cultural shock. Please understand, once there was a recommendation to the government of India regarding foreign services, we can recruit NRIs, people from Singapore, people from US, Canada. We can recruit them rather than Indians. NRIs mean non-resident Indians. What is the reason for that? Why that recommendation was given? That was given by Shashi Tharoor, correct? Who is Shashi Tharoor? You will remember the personality? Congress MP. Before coming to India, where he was? Any idea? He was working in UN. He has a global exposure. And he found out most of the foreign service guys are not suitable for the job. Why they are not suitable for the job is because of these cultural differences. And he recommended better we can recruit NRIs. What is the advantage for NRIs? What is the advantage for NRIs? Why we want to recruit people who studied or worked in Singapore or in Dubai or US or Canada? What may be the advantage in foreign service for that? Because they are exposed to cosmopolitan lifestyle, correct? They know how the global cities will work. For example, if they are posted in Paris or if they are posted in any big cities, they know how to survive there, correct? But if you are from Madurai to Paris next day, there will be huge cultural shock. You doesn't know what to do, correct? You never in your life drank, you never in your life hugged a girl, correct? Ultimately, you will not focus on foreign services, correct? So that's the problem there. What is clash of value system? One incident happened in India to understand. You are able to remember this Delhi gang rape Nirbhaya case? Can anyone say what may be the reason for that particular crime? Can anyone give the reasons? Okay, how many of you saw that documentary India's Daughters? It's a banned documentary. It's in YouTube. You can see it. It's a documentary about this Delhi gang rape that was done by BBC. When they went and asked the persons who have done the crime, why you have done it? If you go and check the reason behind the crime, that was in India, where you can see the entire world attention was in India only, correct? During this Delhi gang rape. Whether you were conscious enough? I think mostly you will be in school days, correct? School days or college days? School days, correct? So in this Delhi gang rape. And if you go and check the reason behind it, actually what happened is the girl along with a male companion boarded a bus after watching a movie, night 9 o'clock. That was a private bus. Once she boarded that bus, as there was no transportation, she boarded the private bus. Suddenly a person in the bus asked, why you are late? And please understand, the girl and the person who asked the question never know each other. The girl is urban brought up. What will be the reaction of the girl for that? If an unknown person comes and asks you why you are late, what will be the reaction for it? Ultimately, she began to question him. And in the heated argument, there was a fight by the male companion. And that person, to show who is the most powerful one, he called up all his friends, gang raped her, threw her on the road, correct? This is nothing but clash of value system. Right now in urban India, we can see a lot of problems based on it, clash of value systems. So these are some of the problems, or if you focus on urban development, these are the things need to be done. A lot of other things you can also add on, correct? And write down the example here. Spark. Example, Spark. Society. If I'm fast, let me know it. Online candidates. If I'm fast, let me know it. Spark means society for promotion. Society for promotion of area resource center. Society for promotion of area resource center. An NGO, responsible to create slum-free India. Responsible to create slum-free India. So can you give some points how to make India slum-free? What are things need to be done? Slum we know what. In all urban centers we have slum, correct? How we can minimize slums in India? If this is an interview question, how to minimize slums in India? Probably this can also be a mains question. How to make India slum-free? Reducing poverty is okay. Then any other thing? Identity must be given. Okay. Then what will be the other? There is no perfect answer. You can say what you think. How to make slum-free? Relocate a better place. Please understand. This is what the government has done a wrong thing. Government thought that slum is an infrastructural problem. What is infrastructural problem means? Not having a home. But please understand, slum is not an infrastructure problem, it's a livelihood problem. What is livelihood problem means? Why in big cities we have slum is, those people in slums are providing basic services to the urban centers, correct? You can see all the maids coming from slums, correct? Or drivers coming from the slums. Giving a home doesn't mean that they move to the new home, because their economic opportunity is not there. This is one of the good examples where policy failure of the government. Government thought that slum means infrastructure problem. That's not the reality. Then what the other things can be done? Very basic things. What are the basic things? Education need to be done. Apart from this, skill development, employment opportunity. And primary thing what you need to focus is rural development. How rural development slum is linked? Slum is an urban area, and how rural development is linked to slums. Mostly we can see that slum is populated by people from rural to urban migration. So if you are able to concentrate on rural development, slum problems can be minimized. Apart from this, what you said all is correct. Even this infrastructure is also a solution. But primary thing is you need to think from livelihood point of view. Okay. So Spark is one such NGO working in that dimension, correct? Slum-free India. The next thing is environmental development. Next thing is environmental development. Okay. Providing drainage can be done. Okay. Skilling people. That's correct. They have right. Someone rightly put. Inclusive development, rural areas. Okay. The next thing is environmental development. So when you say environment development, what should be your focuses? So environment is a large area, correct? If you want to develop environment in India, what should be your focuses? What are the things we need to concentrate in environmental development? Just use your common sense, that's it. Right now, there is always a tussle. Take example, where recently we have an issue regarding disasters, where we have that recently. Uttarakhand, correct? So there was a tussle between development versus environment, correct? So what need to be done for environmental development? If you want to assume that you are the secretary for Ministry of Environmental Affairs, what need to be done? Huh? Natural resource, okay. First one is to minimize natural resource exploitation. Okay, we'll just list out and see. Exploitation. Okay, then any other thing apart from this? According to you, what are other things can be done for it? Controlling pollution. Okay, to control pollution. To control pollution. Then any other thing apart from this, what can be done? Create, okay, promoting e-vehicles. For example, we can go for green technologies. So we can go for green technologies. For example, it can be e-vehicles or solar energy, correct? This is how potential prelims question, go and check it, correct? How they can ask you in prelims. This green technologies, how they can ask you in prelims. Anyone have an idea? For example, if we take e-vehicles, how they can ask you in prelims, e-vehicles, a question? Huh? Okay, how many percentage they aim to implement in India? No, they will not ask that. Any other thing? Okay, right now we speak a lot about e-vehicles, correct? How that can be a prelims question? So can anyone say how e-vehicles works? What is the byproduct of e-vehicle? What is the byproduct? Don't say lithium ion batteries, correct? My question is, what is the byproduct of e-vehicles? Right now, if we take diesel vehicle or petrol vehicle, what the byproduct is? You know that, correct? We have this particulate matters and all. So what a byproduct in e-vehicles? How e-vehicles work? Biofuel is very different, correct? It's not part of e-vehicle. E-vehicle is battery charged. Please go and check. This can be a science and technology question. How e-vehicles works. Very basic thing UPSC will ask. Factual question can change. Please understand. What are the percentage of e-vehicles they want to introduce? They can change the fact. But the basic question is how e-vehicle works. What is the difference between e-vehicle and petrol, diesel or vehicles, correct? That difference you know it. Very common sense aspect. Similarly, if we take this solar energy, how many of you check this International Solar Alliance? You know, there's a term called International Solar Alliance. Please go and check all those things. Okay. So one is green technologies. So you have zero tailpipe emission. Okay. Okay. Water vapor and hydrogen. Okay, that's great. The next thing is vehicle scrapping policy is there. Okay. Green GDP is there. Okay. Then what are other things can be done? Oh, another thing is you can go for waste management. Waste management. Waste management, or what we call it as waste to wealth. Waste to wealth. A good example of waste to wealth is plastics are converted as roads. Is that you know what? Plastics what we use are converted as roads. That's called waste to wealth, right? So waste to wealth is one. And apart from this, we are also focusing on biodiversity conservations. So they are focusing on biodiversity conservation. What is this biodiversity conservation means? One is flora and fauna. So can anyone say how our Indian government is working on this, protecting trees and animals? How our Indian government is working on this? Protecting trees and animals. Wildlife Protection Act. So right now we can see that a lot of acts are there. Apart from acts, what other things are done in our Indian government, Indian system to protect animals and trees? We can see that, for example, wildlife sanctuaries, correct? National park, biosphere reserves. This can be a prelims question. How it can be a prelims question is, what are the difference between all these terms? Anyone have an idea? Is that environment class started for you? On class, okay. Please go and check what is the difference between wildlife sanctuary, national park and biosphere reserves. Anyone have an idea which is highly protected area? Which is highly protected area? Out of these three, which is highly protected? Humans cannot enter. Biosphere reserve, correct? I'm not aware. To my knowledge, they say it's national park. Please check it. I'm not aware of it. Please check it. Which is highly protected in India. Humans cannot enter. Okay. So wildlife sanctuary, national park, biosphere reserves. Go and check the legal difference between all these terms. That can be a prelims question. And similarly for animals, what we have done in India for animals? So okay, reserve forest, okay. Well, for animals, what we have done in India? To protect animals, correct? We have some projects, correct? So what are projects in India for that? For example, Project Tiger. So Project Elephant. My question is, why it's Project Tiger? Why it's not buffalo, donkey? Why we are focusing on Project Tiger? Any reason behind it? Tiger is more endangered. All animals are endangered. So tiger is one. Okay, then apart from this, any scientific reason I'm asking? Any scientific reason to protect tiger? Poaching is there. Okay, then. Okay, that's what they say is why we always, what's my common man assumption is why we are focusing on tiger is we say it's a national animal, correct? But the reality it's not, the primary reason is not national animal. It's called as keystone species. What does keystone species means? In food pyramid, it's the top of the pyramid. So if you're protecting tiger means what you're doing here. If you're, what you're doing? If you're saying that you're protecting tiger, so ultimately what you're doing is you're protecting the entire ecosystem. When you protect the entire ecosystem only, tiger can survive. That's the reason we call it as keystone species. Or another way of saying this, another good example is government is saying that we want to make clean Ganga, correct? Which animal presence should be there to understand that Ganga is clean? Without that you can't see it, correct? Dolphins, correct? There's a riverine dolphin in Ganges. How this can be a prelims question? Anyone studied that? Okay, freshwater dolphin, okay then. Is that dolphin got an eyesight? Is it got an eyesight or not? This can be a prelims question, correct? Okay, no. Can you say why no? Why there is no? Because of industrial wastage means dolphin should not be there, correct? How eyesight can be a problem for dolphin? Please understand, UPSC will ask very basic things. They want to check whether you are able to understand it or not, correct? I think your answer is correct. You will not have a proper eyesight. Eyesight will be there. It's not very proper one. One of the reasons is the Ganges water. Because it's full of mud and dust. So it will not have proper eyesight. And go and check in global level, which are the other riverine dolphins. That can be a prelims question. And what is the local name of it? Sometimes that can be UPSC question. Local name of riverine dolphins. Even for this Ganges dolphin, there is a name. I'm not able to recollect. Please go and check the basic information. Sometimes UPSC will ask very basic one. So as you said that Irrawaddy that is there, correct? Irrawaddy dolphins are there. So if you want to say clean Ganga means that should be dolphin because it's a keystone species. So Project Tiger is there, Project Elephant is there. But recently you can see that human-animal conflict is very high in India. Can you say why? Human-animal conflict is very high in India. Can you say why that's very problematic in India? Deforestation is one. Apart from this, okay, we always have, as a common man, we say that animals are coming into our area. As a common, if you ask any common man, why elephants are coming and attack humans, they always say that elephant comes out and attack humans. That's not the reality. What the reality is, humans are encroaching into their territories. That is the reason we have this human-animal conflict is very high. My question is, in these animals, which is the most dangerous one? We can see in India a lot of human-animal conflict. What are those human-animal conflict we have in India based on newspaper reading? Elephant is very prominent one. Apart from elephant, what are the other ones? Okay, is that we have cheetah in India? Okay, leopard is one. Then apart from this, tiger is there, correct? Lion is there. Human-animal conflict. My question is, which is most dangerous animal in this? Elephant, correct? Please understand, if you ask people in forest service, they say which is the most dangerous one is, it's leopard. Can you say why leopard is most dangerous in that aspect is? Please understand, when you take other animals, either it can be elephant, tiger or lion, it always happens in forest areas, nearby forest areas. But if you take leopard attack, where it always happen, leopard attack? All hardcore urban areas. If you go and check in India, leopard attack, it happened in Mumbai, it happened in Bangalore, hardcore urban areas. What they say is, all other animals have fear about humans. We are the most dangerous animal. Is that you know it? Elephant fear us, tiger fear us. Okay, once they smell the human thing, they run off. But if there is no possibility, they come and attack. Most of them, they run off. But leopards are very comfortable with humans. If you go and check the leopard attacks, it happens in urban areas. And what is the target for leopards is? Why they come to urban areas? Very strong urban areas. because they target on the pets, correct? For example, dogs or something, they target on it. So that they saw leopard is the most dangerous one. Okay. So when you go for this environmental development, these are some of the areas we need to focus on. So in that, write down example. Project Mangrove. Project Mangrove. I don't know what is Project Mangroves. Implemented by, if I'm fast, let me know what. Project Mangrove. Implemented by Bombay Natural History Society. Implemented by Bombay Natural History Society to develop mangrove ecosystem. Develop mangrove ecosystem across Indian coastline. Across Indian coastline. So when you say mangroves means, which location strikes your mind? When you say mangroves means, which location strikes? West Bengal. In West Bengal, which location strikes your mind when you say mangroves means? Sundarbans, correct? What a unique character about Sundarbans? Largest delta is one. Then apart from this, is that part of UNESCO site? Is it part of UNESCO site? Okay. Can anyone say how UNESCO give this category? How UNESCO give this category? There are a lot of sites in India, correct? Ecologically important sites. On what basis they give the category? World Heritage Site. And what other category which they give World Heritage Site is? Please understand, I'm not creating panic in you. UPSC will ask very basic things. What are things we come across in life? They try to ask a question because in prelims, what the primary objective of UPSC is? One is concept clarity. Whether you have that concept clarity. And second one is whether you're understanding what is happening around you. That's the primary thing they try to test you in prelims. Can you understand the point? So we see a lot of about this corona pandemic and everything, correct? Corona pandemic and all those aspects. How many of you have done the basic understanding of this corona pandemic? So we say corona and all those things, correct? So when you say corona means, it's a virus or bacteria? Virus, correct? Everyone knows it. So why virus results in pandemic? Okay, actually mutates. Okay, whether bacteria have a pandemic? Can bacteria have a pandemic in a human society? Okay, that's okay. My question is, can bacteria have a pandemic? Virus have a pandemic, correct? Like this corona spreads across the humankind. Can a bacteria have it? Is it, they can do it? Strong? Okay, just check it. I'm not aware. I'm just asking you. Okay, just check all these things. Okay. Very basic thing UPSC will ask. Don't get panicked. Apart from what you're studying, please understand the primary focus of prelims is concept clarity. Whether you know the concept very well. For example, what does concept clarity means? Take example of inflation. Here, by hearting inflation number is not important. What is the inflation of India? That's not important. When inflation happens, what will be the impact on the society? For example, if there is an inflation, who get the biggest impact? Salary class or businessman? Who get the biggest impact of inflation? Salary class or businessman? Salary class. Why salary class get the biggest impact is? Because that person's salary will not increase. But businessman, what the advantage for a businessman is? His profit increases. Because product prices increases, his profit increases. This is called concept clarity. This is where UPSC will ask the questions. Okay. So when you go for Project Mangrove, that's being done in India, and we know about Sundarbans, correct? Sundarbans, and apart from this, why we are focusing on mangrove ecosystem? What may be the reason behind this? Why we want to develop mangrove ecosystem across coastline? Why that is important across coastline? Because we have some experience based on that, so that they are working on it. Prevent cyclones. Please understand, mangrove act as a natural barrier for tsunamis and floods. So that is the reason they want to develop this mangrove ecosystem. Go and study about Sundarbans. Okay. So these are some of the points related to NGOs and policy implementation, correct? So next we go for NGO and policy making. NGO and policy making. So until now what we saw is NGO and policy implementation. Okay, bacteria can also cause epidemics. Okay, that's great. Okay. Plague, TB, cholera caused by bacteria. Okay. That's great. So NGOs and policy making. In that first point is, you can write this in answer writing, CSE. What is the expansion is? Center for Science and Environment. CSE means Center for Science and Environment. But writing an answer, you can write CSE. Okay. Center for Science and Environment. Led to Right to Clean Air campaign. Led to Right to Clean Air campaign. In Delhi. Led to Right to Clean Air campaign in Delhi. Demanding pollution-free national capital. This resulted in following policy initiatives. So can anyone say, right now, you know, Delhi is known for air pollution. So what are the measures taken by government in that area? Especially Delhi air pollution. A lot of measures are taken. Can you list out some of the measures taken in Delhi for air pollution? Okay, one is, okay, you can put odd and even scheme. Odd even scheme. What is odd even scheme means? Based on your automobile number, you need to drive on a particular day, correct? What is the impact of the scheme? Is it's successful or failure? Please understand, this scheme never have an impact because Delhi is an affordable city. So what happened is, right now you have you are in Delhi, correct? You have one automobile and you know that only on one particular day you can drive. What the next thing you do is, next automobile sales increased in Delhi a lot because of odd even scheme. It's not going to reduce the air pollution. Okay. So odd even scheme is one. Then apart from this, what other thing is? Public transportation system. What is the unique character about Delhi? In compared to other cities in India, there is one unique character about in Delhi public transportation system. What you call as CNG based public transports. CNG based public transport. CNG means compressed natural gas. Compressed natural gas based public transportation system. And apart from this, what are other things that are done recently? What are other things that are done by the government for reducing air pollution? Not only for Delhi, across India also. Okay, one is metro is one. Okay, for Delhi specific, you can put stubble burning. Stubble burning. So can you say why farmers go for stubble burning? If you are a farmer, why you do that in Delhi and Haryana? Stubble burning. Easy to remove the waste. Okay, what are other advantage for a farmer? One is easy to remove the waste. What are other advantages? Why farmer does this? Huh? It enriches the soil. That is one, correct? That is being converted as a manure. Cost is reduced a lot. You doesn't need to employ a person. Next major reason is you want to make the land ready for the next season. Because Punjab and Haryana, you know that 3 seasons they have cultivation. They make the next season ready, correct? So all these are the reasons for stubble burning. Right now government is going against stubble burning. So stubble burning is one. Apart from this, Bharat stage 4 to 6. You know that government is jumping Bharat stage 5. Why they are jumping Bharat stage 5 is, Bharat stage is nothing but for vehicular efficiency, correct? They moved from 4 to 6. The reason is they want to reduce the pollution level. And apart from this, e-vehicles, vehicle scrapping policy, vehicle Scrappage policy, correct? All vehicles need to be removed. So these are some of the policy measures taken by the government, correct? So they have Pusa decomposer is there, that's correct. Pusa decomposer. Okay. So because of one NGO's activity, right now it becomes a prime attention to make policy actions, especially to make pollution-free cities, especially Delhi. Okay. So that is one. First one is Center for Science and Environment. Second is ADR. Second is ADR. Anyone know the expansion of ADR? Based on paper reading. If you are not knowing it, no issues. Anyone have an idea about this ADR? It's an NGO. Anyone have an idea about this ADR? Expansion of ADR? No. Association for Democratic Reforms. Right? Association for Democratic Reforms. ADR. Right? In 1999, if I'm fast, let me know. In 1999, ADR filed a PIL in Delhi High Court. In Delhi High Court, demanding basic information about candidates in election process. So can anyone say what is this PIL? Public interest litigation, correct? Expansion is not required. What does PIL means? Anyone can file a case. That's one important character. What are the other characters? Anyone can file a case. As per judicial philosophy, aggravated person need to go to the court. That's the judicial philosophy. But under PIL, anyone can file a case. What is the next most important character of a PIL? Anyone have an idea? It must be of a public interest. Those are two characters. Thambi, open pannividu. So PIL has two characters. One is social interest, and anyone can file. So anyone can file a case. And please understand, this PIL along with Article 19 and Article 21. What is Article 19 of Indian Constitution? Article 19 of Indian Constitution. Anyone able to identify the Article 19 of Indian Constitution? It's part of fundamental rights. Can you say what is Article 19? That is freedom of speech and expression, correct? What is the recent mains question regarding this? There's a current affairs happening regarding this. Anyone gone through the current affairs? Regarding Article 19. It's not explicit. It's not famous. Okay, any current event happening which can be related to Article 19. It's not very explicit. But if you think you can relate that with Article 19. What is that incident happening in India? Anyone gone through that incident? Please understand, recently government comes out with the rules for social media and OTT platform, correct? On what basis government has done that? You know that Article 19 have reasonable restrictions. So that is the basis on which government came out with the rules and regulations for OTT platforms and social media. Because social media and OTT platform can enjoy Article 19. What is Article 19 is? Freedom of speech and expression. On what basis government is coming out with rules and regulations? What are criticism against OTT platforms and social media? What is the biggest criticism against OTT platforms and social media? Abusive content. What is this abusive content? Why government want to interfere in social media or Amazon, Netflix? Why they want to do it? There is no censor board, correct? So what a problem in that content? Affects the culture. The primary aspect is one is violence. Extreme violence are there in that particular contents. And apart from this, sexual aspects are very explicit. And government want to interfere based on Article 19's reasonable restrictions. This can be a mains question. How in technology fundamental rights are transforming? Okay. So when you go for Article 19, right, freedom of speech and expression. What is Article 21? Right to life and liberty, correct? So Article 19 plus 21 plus PIL in India, that results in judicial activism. This is one of the major aspects of judicial activism in India. Article 19, 21 plus PIL. And you have an idea about judicial activism, correct? You know what is judicial activism? Is that being taught in polity classes? Okay. So judicial activism is a positive concept. Judicial overreach is a negative concept. So judicial overreach should not be there in our democracy. Judicial activism need to be there. This is a mains question. Go and check it. This in polity, I am not touching anything. It's in polity aspect. So the next point is in 2001, Supreme Court gave the order to Election Commission to furnish following informations. So can anyone say, if you want to stand in elections in India, what 3 informations you need to give to Election Commission? It's a mandatory one. You cannot skip it. What are the 3 basic information about you need to give to Election Commission? It's a mandatory one. You cannot skip it. What are those 3 basic informations? Any idea? But the case was filed in Delhi High Court, but that was moved to Supreme Court, correct? One is, please understand, first one is regarding your financial aspects. One is you need to give your financial information. What's your assets, what's your liability. As a candidate, you need to give to Election Commission. One is financial information. Next thing is criminal background. Next thing is your criminal background. Next thing is criminal background. What the third one is? What the third information you need to give us? Any idea? Assume that you are standing in elections. Election Commission demands 3 basic information. One is your financial statement. What's your assets and liabilities? And next thing is criminal background. Assets and liabilities, nothing but properties, and you have any loan with the bank, all those things. And what a third information? What a third information? Any idea? Any intelligent guess? Third information? That's correct. Third one is regarding educational qualifications. Educational qualification. So can you say who got into trouble for the last category? Right now in modern day India, who got into trouble because of this last category? So there are 2 personalities got into trouble in current government. One is Smriti Irani. Right now which ministry she is heading? Any idea which ministry she is heading? Nowhere related to UPSC, just for understanding. Women and Child Development, correct? But in previous government, BJP is the second term, correct? In the first term, she got HRD, Human Resource Development, which is responsible for higher education. Soon people began to ask, what's your qualification? Because there was a lot of doubt whether she got qualified or not. But she was heading the HRD ministry, correct? So she got into trouble because of education qualification. Who was the next one? Any idea who was the next one got into trouble because of education qualification? That was a Prime Minister. That was based on an RTA. Can anyone say who got the guts to file an RTA against the Prime Minister? Who got the guts to file an RTA? Based on RTA, you can get the information from the government. Can anyone say who got the guts to file an RTA against the Prime Minister and ask, what's your qualification? Huh? Intelligent guess. Who are the other politicians who can question the Prime Minister and ask, okay, Subramanya Swamy? No. Okay, not Subramanya Swamy. Then any other thing apart from this? Any other intelligent guess? Just make a wild guess. Any other personality apart from this? Chidambaram, okay, then Shashi Tharoor, okay, then who are the politicians never like Prime Minister Modi? Just think of them and you can give the points, correct? Okay, Rahul Gandhi, okay. Rahul Gandhi will get into big trouble if you ask questions, correct? So, he will not ask all those areas, correct? Who was that personality? Is Delhi Chief Minister. Who's the Delhi Chief Minister? Arvind Kejriwal, correct? He filed an RTA and asked what the qualification of the Prime Minister. Soon the reply came that he studied in Gujarat University and Delhi University. But please understand, our Prime Minister is a shrewd politician, correct? You know this Machiavellian politician? If you are from political science, you have a better idea. Machiavellian politician means you wait for the right time. And what happened is that year CBSE results came out and he put a Twitter statement to the entire India saying that those who passed in CBSE, I am very happy. Those who missed the opportunity in CBSE, that means who are failed in CBSE, don't get worried. Myself, Chaiwala, Prime Minister of India, Arvind Kejriwal, IIT and Delhi Chief Minister, education is not important. So to whom he is saying the answer is, Prime Minister, to whom he is saying the answer is, can you say? Please understand, he is not saying to CBSE students and all. To whom he is saying the answer is Arvind Kejriwal, correct? You may be studied in the premier institution in India, but you are only Delhi Chief Minister, myself the Prime Minister, correct? If anyone have an ambition of politics, right now you are preparing for civil services, but you have an ambition of politics, who should be the best role model is? Our Prime Minister, correct? Okay, in Tamil, there is one Tamil movie is there, Amidi Padai, correct? Okay, there's a Tamil movie in Amidi Padai, you can see that Satyaraj as a character, as a hero, correct? From nowhere become the politician. Like that you can see that our Prime Minister Modi coming and emerging as a biggest one. Another interesting thing is that you know that 2009 and 10, who are the prime ministerial candidate in BJP 2009 and 10? Any intelligent guess? Modi was not the prime minister candidate 2009 and 10 when Congress was in the power. Can anyone have an idea? So there are two personalities. One was LK Advani. Second was Sushma Swaraj. Those two personalities was considered to be the prime ministerial candidate. But suddenly what happened is Modi came into picture and became the prime minister. And please understand, what he has achieved as a politician cannot be done by anyone. How we can say that thing is, first term MP, first term prime minister. Can you understand the point? On the first day when he set a foot on the parliament, he is the prime minister. And there are people who are waiting there in generation to become a prime minister, correct? Who is the person standing there for generation, correct? My grandparent, my grandfather is a prime minister, my father is a prime minister, correct? But still they can't become a prime minister. On the first day he became the prime minister, right? So if you have ambition of politics, Prime Minister Modi is the right personality to follow on, correct? So that's regarding AD, Association for Democratic Reforms. Right now these three informations are mandatory ones for any candidates, right from MP, MLA, any level, okay? The next one is third example, MKSS, Mazdoor, Kisan. Expansion is not required. Okay, just for understanding, I am saying Mazdoor, Kisan, Shakti, Sangatna. When you're writing an answer in UPSC, you can write MKSS. It's a very popular one. MKSS, Mazdoor, Kisan, Shakti, Sangatna. In 1990s, in 1990s, MKSS, in 1990s, MKSS led a people movement. MKSS led a people movement. The state of Rajasthan. People movement in the state of Rajasthan, demanding public hearing, and village accounts. The success of the movement, resulted in following democratic initiatives. First one is RTI, that is right to information, RTI. Second one, social audit. Second one, social audit. We'll see what is social audit. But in India, when you say audit means, who's responsible in India for audit process? Which institution is responsible in India for audit process? CAG, correct? So there's a concept called social audit. We'll see that later. So based on the success of this NGO, these two initiatives happen in India. One is RTI and next thing is social audit. Okay. Next, fourth one is Pratham. Fourth one is Pratham. Anyone came across this particular NGO in newspapers? Anyone have an idea which where this NGO is related? If you have gone through anywhere in newspapers, you know, Pratham, responsible to publish, responsible to publish annual status, responsible to publish annual status of education report. Especially primary education in India. Especially primary education in India. The findings of the report. The findings of the report is used to redesign flagship programs. Redesign flagship programs such as Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. You can write SSA, such as Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, midday meal scheme. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, midday. To understand this particular pointers, my basic question is, after you get into services, whether you put your son and daughter in government schools, you are a district collector, whether you put your son and daughter in government schools, what's your viewpoint on this? Whether you put your son and daughter in government schools, if you are a district collector, is that you do it? Most of the time, no, correct? Why it's not? Why they'll not go for government schools? Not only yourself, even right now, take Corona time, correct? When the minister got Corona, where he goes and get admitted is not in government hospital, correct? They go for private hospitals and get admitted. The same thing, as a district collector, why you never want to send your son and daughters to government schools? What are the problem in government schools? Quality of education. Why the quality of education is not good in government schools? One is lack of infrastructure. What is that infrastructure was lacking there? Boards, digital infrastructure. Please understand this ACER report. Short form we call it as ACER report. They found out that especially in rural areas, ACER is nothing but annual status of education report. That's called ACER report. So what they found out is, especially in rural areas, after 5th standard, girls are not coming to schools. And one of the reasons they found out why in rural areas girls are not coming to the school is lack of infrastructure. What is that infrastructure? Any idea? There was no toilets. That was based on this particular report. Then only government began to take notice of that, and they began to create that infrastructures. Can you understand the point? Only lack of infrastructure, teachers are not good, correct? So a lot of other factors are there. All are taken into the governments in redesigning this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and midday meal schemes. Okay. So regarding education, can you say which state standing first in education in India? Kerala, correct? Okay. That will not be a question in UPSC, correct? Which are the second, third and fourth state? Everyone knows it's Kerala, but what is second, third and fourth state? So please, why I'm asking is 2021. What is the importance of 2021? 2021, what is the importance for India? 2021. 2011, 2021, what is the importance? You are going for census, correct? So go and check literacy rate. All India average is not important. Go and check in state specific. first 4 states, last 4 states, male education, female education, just have an idea. Okay, and which is the best state is Kerala. Apart from Kerala, what are other states we have very good education literacy rates? Okay, Tamil Nadu, and mostly we can see in northeastern states, correct? Which are the worst states in education? Which are the worst states in education? Okay, okay. For example, what are the worst states in education is Bihar, correct? Jharkhand, and I think 4 or 5 years before there was an incident happened in Bihar. There was a school topper in Bihar, where media was not ready to accept the school topper because they thought that was fabricated results. And the media went and asked with the school topper what is political science means, because she wrote a paper on political science. They asked what is political science means. For that she gave a reply, political science means cooking. And they asked how you got the top rank. I said to my papa, he made all the arrangements. What making all the arrangements means. So he find the right person, gave the money and got the top rank, correct? So Bihar, you can see that education is not much important. Another interesting thing about Bihar is, assume that you are a reporter working for Indian Express or Hindu, and it's a 10th or 12th examination happening in your state. Newspaper asks, go and take a picture of the exam. What picture you will take normally? You are a reporter, they ask, get me some pictures of the examination of 10th or 12th. What picture normally you take is? Logical one. Okay, come into the examination hall and take a picture of students writing the examinations, correct? But we go for Bihar. When you want to take a picture of people writing an examination, you should not go inside the exam hall. Where you need to go is, you need to stand outside of the school and take a picture. So what they do is, even in the second floor, the relatives will be standing on the windows and they'll passing on the information to write the examinations, correct? Or another way of saying that thing is, in Bihar, copying is a birthright. You can't question them, correct? Is it possible in UPSC examination? Can we have in UPSC examination copying? Yes, you can have it, but the problem is you can't find the answer, correct? You can give 10 books, they can't find an answer. So one extreme is Bihar is like this, correct? But other extreme of Bihar is that, you know what? One extreme we say that Bihar education is not good and other things. You know the Super 30 initiative. How many of you came across the Super 30 initiative? There's a movie also made out of it, correct? So Super 30 initiative is nothing but making people to write IITs, especially from poor background. It's a global famous initiative, Super 30. That's the other end of Bihar. Another interesting happened to a friend. He went for this forest service interview, not foreign service, forest service interview. And there was a question asked in UPSC regarding forest service. Suddenly a member asked, if someone is putting gun on your head, asked to marry a girl, what do you do? If that is a question asked to you, what will be your answer? There's a question asked to our friend, correct? In between forest service, there was a sudden question like this. If someone is putting gun on your head, asked to marry a girl, what do you do? If that question is asked to you, what would be a reply for that? Okay. Hi, that's correct. High number of IAS candidates from Bihar, that's correct. Can anyone say the answer? Especially for a guy, if this question is asked, what would be your answer? If an interview board asks, okay, whether you marry a girl, gun is on your head, what do you do? And our friend doesn't know why this question was asked to him. He was thinking, what happened to me, why they're asking like this. And he said that, sir, I'll say to the girl, I'm not interested. Soon the member said, no, girl is very much interested. What will be your reply? And he thought that, why is he persistently asking a question? As per constitution, what article you got as? As per constitution, what article you got as? You know this article 21, correct? Right to life and liberty. He said that, sir, I got article 21, no one can force me. And the next questions changed to forest service related, all this went off. And he came out of the interview, but he doesn't know why this question was asked to him. You know this Karagata, correct? Tamil movie. Karatal, correct? He left out all other questions, but this question was stuck in his mind. Why this question was asked to me? So once he finished off that interview, went for a lunch, and there were a few friends sitting along with him. And he asked the friends, okay, this question was asked to me, why? They said, we don't know why they asked you. Probably because of seeing your face, they asked like this. Okay, he was not able to get an idea why this question came to him. And after lunch, he just got a paper and went to his room just to check what is happening in that today's newspaper. While he was checking the newspaper, he found out that in one news article, an engineer in Bihar, he went to his native place, a village. While he reached the native place, he was abducted by the girl's family and asked to marry the girl. There's a picture of him crying there and tying a knot. He was not interested in the marriage at all, but there was a gun on his head. Based on that only, they asked the question, what do you do there? Correct? Please understand, in Bihar, if you are highly qualified, your life is always dangerous. Okay. And in Tamil Nadu, we have so many engineers, nothing happens like this, correct? Okay, where in Bihar, if you are an engineer, you're being abducted. Okay. That's a culture there. There's a culture in Bihar, certain villages have this culture. If you are highly educated and you're most wanted guy, they abduct you. And girl's family abduct you and ask to marriage, and you have no choices. There'll be 3 to 4 guns on your head. You need to marry that girl, correct? So this is regarding MKS's Pratham. Okay. Just quickly go through this NGO right from the first. We'll see the challenges of NGOs next. Just go through it. Any clarification online, please? Just go through it. So even there's a documentary on it. In Bihar, how they kidnap guys for marriage. In that documentary, there are guys saying that we never went to our native place because fear of kidnap. Okay, just go through this. Any clarifications or any doubts? We can see the challenges of NGOs. I'll repeat the first point for MKSs. In 1990s, led a people movement in the state of Rajasthan, demanding village accounts and public hearing. Next, challenges. Next thing is challenges. So what are the challenges of NGOs? Why we cannot rely on NGOs for our development? Though these have positive things, but what are challenges in NGOs? Use your common sense. What are problems in NGOs? Why we cannot rely on them? Take example of Greenpeace or Amnesty International. Why government want to throw those NGOs out of India? Where the funding? Right. And the first point is lack of transparency. Lack of transparency in NGO activities. Lack of transparency in NGO activities, especially foreign funding. Second statement in that, FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, demands NGOs to file their financial statements to the government. So that's the first one, lack of transparency. Second one is NGOs representing foreign interest, in development process. Example, people's movement against nuclear energy or Kodangulam issue. And government gave an IB report during the time saying that some foreign countries were involved in it. Logically, you can think of which foreign country will be involved in. That's an IB report. Government during that time came out with an IB report, Intelligence Bureau report, stating that the protest in Kudangulam was funded by some foreign countries. Kudangulam reactor, which country has created the Kudangulam reactor there? Russia. Foreign country means logically who will be opposing Russia there? US, correct? It is said that US and some German was funding that NGO activities, and especially against the development aspects. That is the reason why Greenpeace was thrown out. That is the reason why Amnesty International was thrown out, correct? Because they was not working on the development aspects. Okay. Third one, political NGOs. Third one, political NGOs. What are these political NGOs means? Write down. NGOs started by friends, family members, close relatives of political class. Close relatives of political class. It was found out corruption, malpractices, by these NGOs while implementing government schemes and programs. And last one. NGO and business nexus. No. NGO and business nexus. No. Path. What the third point is, political NGOs. I'll just repeat the third point. NGOs started by friends, relatives, family members of political class. It was found out these NGOs involving in corruption and malpractices while implementing government schemes and programs. NGOs and business next. Path, an international NGO. In the name of free medicines. International NGO in the name of free medicines conducted clinical trials in India. So what does clinical trials means? The name itself says what does clinical trial means. When now you develop a new drug, you want to test this, correct? First you start with animals, and you know that India is a land of clinical trial. Why they want to test in India? Any reason behind it? Why all the pharmaceutical companies want to come and test in India? There are some reasons behind it. What are the reasons behind it? Why they want to test in India? One is poverty. Because people doesn't have money, you say that I'll put an injection and give some rupees to you. People are ready to go for testing. Then apart from this, illiteracy. People are not aware that this is a new medicine, there will be an impact on the health. The third reason is why they want to test drugs in India. Lack of healthcare facilities. Apart from this, genetic mix-up. India is a land of genetic mix-up, correct? You can see northeast, north and south where have very, very different genetic mix-up. So all these are reasons resulting in clinical trials. So what this NGO have done is, they say that it's a free medicine, but they were conducting some clinical trials. Okay, go to the next point. This resulted in death of tribal girls. This resulted in death of tribal girls in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat. To understand this clinical trials and other things, correct? Right now, if you take corona vaccine, how many of you are ready to put that vaccine? Corona vaccine. The government is saying that you can put the vaccine, correct? But how many of us ready to do it? Most of us will know. Can you say why we are not ready for that corona vaccine? What will be the reason why we are not ready for corona vaccine? Don't say that I'm a youth. Apart from youth, what will be the other reasons why we are not ready to accept the corona vaccine? Side effects, reliability, evidence is not there. The basic reason is this one, clinical trial, correct? We never believe it. They are testing on us, why we want to go for it, correct? And right now, there is some confidence in that vaccine drive. Why that confidence comes into picture is, why that confidence right now come into that vaccine drive is, 1 month before, no one believed that vaccine. Right now, there are some people saying that, yes, we can go for vaccine. What is the reason for that? What is the reason for that? Recently, we see that the Prime Minister put a vaccine for himself, correct? But still, people are questioning it. What the question is, that's vaccine, dana, correct? Is a vaccine or not, correct? Okay, because Indians will never believe the government. So that's the problem here, correct? So that's the reason is we don't have a proper clinical trial for corona vaccines. People are not ready to accept it, correct? But government claims that 50 countries are standing in queue and everything. But as a common man, we never believe it. Okay. So even if we take that, who are the people right now got the corona vaccines? One is healthcare workers. Next thing is above 60 and also uniform services, correct? So right now, if you are a civil servant, no other go. Okay. Government will say do it, but they will not do anything. You need to put the injections, correct? And this happened to a friend who is a sub-collector right now in Mizoram. He went to the public and said that there's a corona vaccine, we need to put it. But the first thing the common man said is, yes sir, we will do it. First we'll start with you. Then he got the shock, correct? Civil service, correct? I got into IAS, but I got the first injection, correct? They say that please prove yourself, then we'll follow you, correct? So as a civil servant, life is very dangerous. Okay. So these are the challenges of NGOs. Okay. Next we go for self-help group. Next thing is, next side heading is self-help group. Self-help group, correct? So based on paper reading, where we can relate this self-help group? Anyone came across in paper, self-help group, where we can relate them? One is Kerala. So self-help group means very famous is Kerala. We'll see that. Then apart from this, any other thing? Self-help group means what are things strikes your mind when you say self-help group means? We'll see from technical aspect. Any other thing apart from this Kerala? Any other points you can relate with self-help group apart from this? Women empowerment. That's a great one. Women empowerment. Women empowerment, correct? So especially self-help group is regarding women. Which area of women is more prominent with self-help group is? Urban women, rural women, where we can see them a lot is, especially we can relate with rural women a lot. Rural women. And apart from this, self-help group means we can relate with cottage industries. So these are few informations we can relate with self-help group, correct? Based on paper reading. So I don't know what is self-help group means. An institution, self-help group, an institution based on, an institution based on homogeneous character, based on homogeneous character to empower institutions based on homogeneous character to empower weaker section, empower weaker section by means of weaker section by means of financial inclusion, by means of financial inclusion. So what are the opposite of homogeneous? What are the opposite of homogeneous? Heterogeneous character. Can you give an example of a country with heterogeneous character? Simple thing, diversity. Okay, India is a classic example of heterogeneous. Can you give a country of a character with homogeneous character? Country with homogeneous character. Monoculture, monoethnicity, anything like that. Please understand, China is as diverse as India. That is the reason China is facing the problem, correct? If you go for this Xinjiang province in China, is that Xinjiang province, where we have Muslims there, that's a problem for China. Tibet is a problem for China cultural wise, correct? Can you say which country is a good example of homogeneous character? Japan is a good example of homogeneous character. Apart from Japan, Iran is a good example, Shia Muslim. Iran is dominated by Shia Muslim. Korea is a good example of homogeneous character, correct? For self-help group, what is homogeneous character means? One is gender. They form the self-help group based on gender category. One is gender. The next thing is economic status. Next thing is economic status. And finally, right now in India, we say it's a problem, but in self-help group, this plays a role also. Caste. Poor women belong to same caste. They all come under self-help group. Can you understand the point? So that's called homogeneous character. Gender, economic status, and caste. Okay. The next one is unique characters. Unique characters of self-help group. Unique characters. First one is unique characters. Collective identity. First one is collective identity. To enjoy public services. Collective identity to enjoy public services. Example, banks. Example, banks. So to understand this point, I'll ask a very basic question. If you want to get a bank loan, what is the assumption of a bank manager? You want to get a loan for 5 lakhs. You go and approach a bank manager. What is the assumption of a bank manager while giving a loan? Whether he strongly believes that you'll repay the loan. Whether he strongly believes that. As a manager, whether he strongly believes that you repay the loan. Please understand, all conditions you satisfy. You are a salaried person, your income is 60,000, correct? And you have all this CIBIL score, what we call it as CIBIL score. Everything is good. But what is the basic assumption of a bank manager when you go and approach for a loan? He always assumes that you will not repay, correct? And what is the next question he always asks us? Yes, sir, you are eligible. What is the next question he always asks us? Okay, give us some security. What is the security aspect? Is mostly in India, what we pledge as a security for the loaners. Either it can be land or house or gold, correct? Mostly it will be house, correct? My question is, as per Indian culture, on whose name property is always there? Male or female? On whose name the property will be always there is? As female. Okay, please understand, husband and wife, on whose name the property will be there? Think about your family, correct? If you have a home, on whose name the home is always there? Always father's name the home will be there, correct? And especially think of rural areas. When you approach a bank, they'll ask us some security. And ultimately what we can understand is, women cannot enjoy the banking services. But under self-help group, what they do is, they create a collective identity and they approach a bank. Bank is ready to give the loan. So they are able to enjoy the basic services like bank services. That's the first unique character. And the second one is, peer pressure. Second one, peer pressure ensures. Peer pressure ensures economic activities, comma, repayment of loans. Economic activities, comma, repayment of loans. So what does this peer pressure means? To understand this, right now we're preparing for civil service examinations, correct? And is that pre-storming started for you? Pre-storming started, correct? Is that they're putting the rank for you? Once you finish off your test, they put a rank, correct? When you'll be happy for the rank? When you'll be happy for the rank? Right now you came for offline classes. When you'll be happy for the rank is, assume that you're a college friend and you are joined the courses, correct? And you're preparing for the examinations. And pre-storming test happened and you check the results. You are rank number 30. And for rank number 30, you'll not be happy. When you'll be happy is, after checking your rank, what is the next thing you do is? Go and check your friend's rank, correct? If your friend is rank number 90, you'll be very happy. If your friend is rank number 5 or 6, what happens to you? You feel that, correct? Without knowing me, he studies something new, correct? So that's called peer pressure. Peer pressure is always positive thing For example, if we take India, with which country we compare a lot? With which country we compare a lot? We say that this country is doing well, we are not doing well, correct? Which country we always compare a lot as? Please understand, we compare with China a lot. Similarly, in self-help group, what happens with peer pressure means 10 women start a self-help group. Because of this peer pressure, everyone will be working to economic activity and also promptly repaying the loans. That's the unique character of self-help group. Okay. Right now it's 12:30. Take 5 minutes break. After that, we can start the remaining aspects.
You are in the Zoom meeting now. This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, we go for classes. Next thing is examples. Write on the examples for self-help group. So one is Kudumbashree in the state of Kerala. Swayam Siddha, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Union Government. So these are the two examples for self-help group. One is Kudumbashree, very famous across India, and Swayam Siddha. These are two examples of self-help group. Ministry of Women and Child Development, Union Government. The programs based on these two programs. The programs based on microcredit, programs based on microcredit, micro entrepreneurship, and empowerment. Microcredit, micro entrepreneurship, and empowerment. So what under self-help group they do was 10 women will form a group as self-help group. Bank will give loan to them. With that loan, they do some economic activities. What are economic activities normally they do is just use your common sense. For example, this micro entrepreneurship is related to cottage industries. So in cottage industries, for example, you can take pickle making, correct? So right now during this corona pandemic times, you can see that they are involved in making some sanitizers or some face masks, correct? That's all part of micro entrepreneurship. So especially Kudumbashree was involved in all those things. So these are the few examples in India for self-help group. The next one is challenges. So can you say what are the challenges for women starting a business? Just use your common sense. What are the challenges for women starting a business? Financial aspect, government is taking care. They can give loans to the women, correct? But that's not the major challenge. What are the major challenges in India regarding women starting a business? Family support, correct? Another first point is challenges. Okay, that's correct. Lack of support from family members. Especially male. So that can be father, son, brother, husband, correct? Why male will not support a woman starting a business? What may be the reason for this? Culturally, there is something in India. Why male will not support a woman starting a business? Will not give respect. That's a fear of male. Okay, then any other thing? Apart from this, that's a male domination. Why male is always thinking that women should not start a business? Culturally, there are certain things. What are those things? They'll be equal. That is one. Okay, then any other thing? They become independent. Okay, so male will not like it. Okay, that's one. Okay, then. Okay. So any other thing apart from this? Listen to him, correct? So that's what she said, correct? They'll be independent. Women will be independent. Male will not like it, correct? Okay, then any other thing apart from this? That's correct. For example, in our society, finance and decision making is always the domain of male, correct? So if women is doing that, male will not like it. For example, handling money or taking decisions, they will not accept it. That's the primary reason, correct? Lack of support. Next, second point is she will stop cooking. Okay, that's the biggest problem, correct? She will stop cooking. Okay. And current generation women, I don't know how many of they are good in cooking. I don't know whether you all cook. Okay, most of you will not cook, right? Okay, that's in the previous generation itself. Cooking is finished. Okay, so the next one is second point. Second point. So this is from a family circle. Women itself have some challenges. What are those challenges? Because of women herself. Think from rural women. With rural women starting a business, there are some challenges because of herself itself. Mindset is one. Apart from mindset, there are some other problems because she's lacking some things. What are those things she's lacking so that she can run a proper business? Education. The next one is lack of literacy. Lack of literacy results in poor financial skills, management skills. Poor financial skills, management skills. Third challenges. Social taboos such as social taboos. Can anyone say what is social taboos, the term? So rural women have excellent financial skills, that's correct. But the problem is when they approach a bank, so they doesn't know how to fill the forms there. That's the problem there, correct? So they're not able to financially interact with outside world. So they are very good in handling money, that's correct. But when they go for banks or any other formal institutions, they doesn't know what to do. So can anyone say what the social taboos means? The term social taboo. Anyone have an idea what this term social taboo means? Okay, that's an example. I'm asking what a social taboo means. Social taboo means prejudice, myths, okay, any other thing. You can make any intelligent guess. That's it. No perfect answer is required. What is social taboo? It can be a myth or prejudice. Any other thing we can relate to the term social taboos. We should not interact with, okay. There are certain things in a society you cannot do, correct? So for example, can you say Indian society, what are those social taboos? For certain things you cannot do in a society, what are those things? For example, if you are attending a marriage, can you say what you should not speak there? That's a social taboo. You should not speak there. What are those things you should not speak there in marriage? You're attending a friend's marriage or anything. What are the things you should not speak there? Any subject you should not speak there. That's a social taboo. People will not accept it. They criticize you, curse you. What thing you should not speak there? Any intelligent guess in marriages? What topic you should not speak there? You're going for a friend's marriage and sitting there along with your friends or a family members. Huh? What is a negative thing? Divorce, correct? You should not go and sit and speak about divorce, correct? You should not speak about divorce process, how need to be done, correct? Okay, that cannot be done. Then anything apart from this? Okay. Correct? Okay, any other thing apart from this? Huh? Dowry, okay, dowry. Sometimes they will say it very proudly also, correct? So any other thing apart from this? For example, divorce can be one such thing. We cannot speak it. Then, is that we can speak about sex education there? Can we go and sit in marriages and speak about sex education? Ultimately, what people will do, what will be the reaction of the people is, they literally get feared, correct? They call up all the kids and say that don't speak with this uncle, correct? A bad guy, okay, keep distance. So my point is that this you can see it in our schools also, correct? If you are a biology student in 11th or 12th, correct? There's a topic called reproductive system. Is that in schools they teach you? Literally no, correct? In most of the schools they will not teach. What the biology staff will do is, when they go for this topic of reproductive system, what the biology staff will do is, it's a home study. You read by yourself, correct? And for example, if you go and ask a doubt, sir, I got a doubt, which topic? Reproductive system. Oh, come to staff room. So ultimately what will happen there in the staff room is, they will not clear your doubt. What will happen there is, all the staff will sit there, correct? You will be in the center. You made fun, correct? That's a social taboo. There's certain things you cannot do in a society, correct? Similarly, for a woman, there are some social taboos that hinders her doing a business. So there are social taboos such as interacting with outside members, accessing public places, etc. To understand the second point, a good example, we can take a family itself, correct? For example, in a family, there is son and daughter. Going for second show, who is permitted in the family going for a second show? If a daughter go and say to the parent that I want to go for a second show, correct? What will be the reaction of the parent is? And if there is a grandparent there, what happens there? If a grandparent sitting there and if a girl go and say to the father that I want to go for a second show, what will be the reaction of the grandparent is? Okay, they'll curse the father, correct? You don't know how to raise a girl child or see what happens here, correct? Similarly, if a son and go and ask for a second show, what will be the reaction of the parents for that? For example, if son go and say to the mother that I'm going for a second show, what will be the reaction of the mother is? Okay, go safe, have some money, correct? Come early, night 1 o'clock. Come early, correct? Door will not be locked, you lock it, correct? So this you can see that how gender difference is there. Accessing public places or interacting with outside members, all are challenges for women starting a business. Okay. Finally, last point is regarding challenges. Last point. Use of financial resources. Use of financial resources for personal expenditures. For personal expenditures such as. So can anyone say what is the biggest expenditure for a rural family? Food is one. Apart from food, there is some other biggest expenditures. In their entire life, they say that that expenditure is important. What are that expenditures? Expenditures such as marriages, festivals, etc. They get the money for financial business activity, but they spend on marriages and festivals. So these are some of the challenges. Okay. The next thing is impact. So what is the first impact? Assume that business is going well. What is the first impact is? Women starting a business, that business is going well. What will be the first impact in the system is? What will happen to a woman running a business successfully? What happens to her? Not motivating her, practically what happens to her? 10 women starting a business and that business going well. What is the first thing they'll enjoy in their life is? Financial independence. Right, first one is financial independence or empowerment. That's the first impact. Financial independence or empowerment. Second point, assume that in a family when wife becomes financially independent, what are the next things she concentrates? When a woman is financially independent, wife is financially independent, what are the next thing she concentrates is? Children. So the next one is improvement in primary health and education. Improvement in primary health and education. And that's the reason we can see that whenever government want to give the money to a family, what government always does is, they always give in the hands of women. Can you understand the point? Why they never want to give it to a male? What a problem in giving money to the male? Government will not give the money to the male. You can go and check any schemes. They give only to the wife. They will not give it to the husband. Can you say why they will not give it to the husband? Okay. What is the reason is? Because money behavior with male and female is very different. Female, when she gets the money, she thinks about the family. What about the male? What a problem for the male is? What a problem for the male is? Because male always think about the personal consumption. Then if there is an extra money, they give to the family, correct? In Tamil Nadu, it's always worst. For example, in Tamil Nadu recently, they gave for Pongal 2,500, correct? Is there any loss for the government? Literally no. There is no loss for the government. Only loss is 2 hours. Morning 10 o'clock, they gave to the families. By 12 o'clock, it will come back to the government, correct? Even said by the minister. How it will get back to the government is via TASMA, correct? That's a problem with the male using the money. And you can see that all the time when government want to give the money, they give only to the wife. DCBT, go and check, it will be in wife's name. Even this Pongal distribution is given only for the wife. And there was interesting thing in rural areas, right from the morning 2 o'clock. Please understand, morning 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, husband will be standing in the queue. By 10 o'clock, the wife will come, replace, they get the money. By 12 o'clock, they give back to the government. So literally you can see that the money and male is always the worst combination. Okay, then third point is third impact. Once she is successful in business, successful in family, what is the next thing she concentrates as? What is the next thing she concentrates as a woman? Logically can think of, correct? Personal life is good, business life is good. What is the next thing the women will try to explore? What is the next thing women will try to explore is? Just use your common sense, correct? In a rural area, women starting a business, that's going good. Her family life is good. And she is enjoying the new possibilities in her life. What is the next thing she always try to concentrate is? Savings is there. Savings is automatically done. That's a financial independence. Because of savings, she is focusing on the family. Everything is done. Her personal life is good. What the next thing the women will try to do is? Empowering other women. What are the next business leadership she is enjoying? What are the next thing she try to do is? She copy the business leadership in which area? So what happens is once a woman is very good in business and family life, next thing she focuses on local governments. What next one is? Next one is, third one is increased effectiveness of local government due to empowered women. Due to empowered women. Next one. Increase good governance. Next point. Increase good governance at panchayat level. Regarding program implementations. Last point. Reduction in domestic violence. Due to self-help group. So can you say what is the relationship between domestic violence and self-help group? What is the relation here? Domestic violence and self-help group. How it works here? Any idea? What a combination here? 10 women starting a business running successfully. And how that is related to domestic violence? Domestic violence reduces. How domestic violence reduces? Because of self-help group. Financially empowered, that is the reason for the domestic violence, correct? You are not giving money to me, correct? You have so much of money. Give the money to me, correct? That's the reason. But how self-help group is able to reduce that? Because they do not stay in home. So there is no domestic violence, correct? That is also another reason, correct? Correct? Okay, what will be the other aspect is? It's very practical one. Elevated from poverty. Another major reason is this collective identity, correct? Assume that out of 10 women self-help group, one woman is facing the problem from the husband. What the women need to do is, she doesn't need to go for police station and all. What the next thing she want to do is? What the next thing you want to do is? Take up the phone, call all remaining friends, correct? Come to my home. That is a problem, correct? So ultimately, you know what will happen to the husband, correct? 10 women and 1 male, correct? So there will be a proper treatment. He can't say it to anyone, correct? So they say that domestic violence is reducing a lot. Apart from this, as you said, financial empowerment. So they are not depending upon the male. So all these factors are there. But the other thing is because of this collective cohesiveness, they are able to minimize the domestic violence. Okay. The next thing is pressure groups. Next slide heading, pressure groups. Next slide heading, pressure groups. I will see some of the examples of pressure groups. Then we go for the topic. So can you say what are the biggest pressure group for the government right now? Based on your understanding, they can pressurize the government. What are the biggest pressure groups for the government? Union is one. Apart from this, biggest pressure groups, you can put RSS, Vishwa Hindu Parishad is a good example of pressure groups. We'll see how they have an impact on the government. Similarly, we can have this FICCI, CII. For industries, we have this pressure group for industries. We are just listing some of the examples, that's it. Next thing is Farmers Association. Right now we have Farmers Association. Similarly, we have this Anna Hazare movement and caste movements, correct? Right now it's not dominant one, caste movements like Jat, Maratha. I think 3 to 4 years before it happened, Jat, Maratha and all happened, right? So my question is, can you say in which area RSS or Vishwa Hindu Parishad try to influence the government? In which areas? So what areas they try to influence the government is? They are not government, they try to influence the government. In what areas they try to influence the government? Religion is their domain. They use religion to influence them, but on what areas of the government they try to influence this? Anyone have an idea? Policy making. When you say policy making means, especially you can see that RSS and Vishwa Hindu Parishad have a huge influence on education policy and foreign policy. Education policy and foreign policy. When they say foreign policy, especially with our neighborhood. To understand this, you know that RSS have an objective called Akhanda Bharat. Anyone have an idea? Akhanda Bharat. What does Akhanda Bharat means? Please understand, for RSS, India means not modern day India. For them, India means Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, all part of India. So they have a huge influence on this foreign policy. Education policy can visibly see a lot, correct? For example, Sanskrit, or it can be say yoga made as compulsory one. So all are influences. The next thing is FICCI and CII. How this corporate body influence the government? In what area they influence the government? Corporate bodies. One is taxes. So they have a huge influence on the tax systems. Apart from tax systems, you can also see that they try to influence government on policies. For example, FDI policy. So they have influence on the government. There are a few examples, that's it. Not an exhaustive one. Farmers Association. Right now we take Farmers Association. What is the biggest influence on the government? Farmers Association. Right now we can see regarding MSP, subsidy, correct? MSP, subsidy. They try to influence the government. Right now farmers protest in Delhi. For what reasons happening? Farmers protest in Delhi. 3 laws are there, but what are the primary crux of that protesters? Primary crux of the protest. On 3 laws, on what area they are trying to influence us? You can see that especially they want to have MSP as a legal promise, correct? They want to include in the act. And another thing is they also want to have this mandis. But right now what farmers are saying is the only objective of them is to scrap it, correct? So we can see that still 100 days are gone and farmers protest is going on. One of the reasons for making OTT rules on social media is this background is also there, correct? Who was criticizing Indian farmers protesters, not criticizing Indian government for this. There was some global personalities criticizing it. Government got irritated out of it, correct? So they want to make some rules and regulations. Even Twitter was not going along with the government. Is you think that government is overreacting for this? What's your idea on this? There's few personalities criticizing about India is that government is overreacting. What's your opinion on this? My question is social media can have influence on Indian system, especially politically? Anyone have an idea? What's your opinion on that? Social media can have an influence on political system of any country. Please understand, it's yes. Go and check Arab Spring. You know what is Arab Spring? Which happened in North Africa and Gulf regions entirely because of social media. So every government want to control social media. So India have done it. So a farmers association, MSP and subsidy. For example, Anna Hazare movement, it's regarding anti-corruption. And this is regarding reservation. So this is regarding reservation. All this caste protests are regarding, caste movements are regarding reservations. And this first 3 are considered to be formal pressure groups, and the last one is informal. What is formal means? They exist throughout the year. 24/7 they will be there. To take these movements, once they achieve the objective, they disband. So informal one is the 4th one. informal pressure groups. So not all overreacting. What government of India did and doing is right in this farmers protest. Okay, that's great. Okay. The next one is, what are this pressure groups means? Institutions. Pressure group means institutions or organizations. Institutions or organizations that influences government policies, or public opinion. Government policies or public opinion by means of protest, demonstration, strikes, policy research, media briefing, lobbying. And keep in mind, in India, lobbying is an illegal activity. Lobbying is an illegal activity in India, but in global level, lobbying is accepted. Good example is US. To understand the power of lobbying in US, my question is regarding climate change. What is the stand of US government regarding climate change? Whether they accept the climate change or deny it, US government, any idea? Is that the US government accepting climate change? Trump government deny it, and most of the time you can see that US administration always never accept climate change. One of the major reasons is lobbying power of big oil companies. What is oil companies means? You know, British Petroleum, Aramco, correct? In lobbying, they can use money or any other means to influence the lawmakers. That is happening in US. All this British Petroleum, Aramco spend millions of dollars to influence the lawmakers there. And what they stand they always take is climate change is a cyclic phenomena. Cyclic phenomena means every 1,000 years it goes down and rises. It's not because of human activity. Why they concentrate on US? Why they concentrate on US under lobbying power? It's nothing but major economy. If US says that we are not going to use oil, ultimately what happens? The entire oil demand goes down, correct? So to avoid that, they use lobbying power. In India, go and check regarding lobbying power. There's a name called Neera Radia. Regarding 2G spectrum, this name was very popular. She was arrested for lobbying. Just check this personality, Neera Radia. Okay. So this is regarding pressure groups. Okay, just quickly go through the civil society right from the first. Just go through it. Right from the first, go through civil society once. So any clarification, just ask me. Any doubts? Okay, write down the questions. If you are free, just write and get it back to me. The penetration. Question is the penetration of self-help group. You can put SHG. Penetration of self-help group in rural areas in promoting participation in development programs is facing socio-cultural hurdles. I'll repeat it again. Examine. I'll repeat the point. I'll repeat the question. The penetration of self-help group in rural areas in promoting participation in development programs is facing socio-cultural hurdles examined. So you can write it for 10 marks and you relate with challenges of self-help group, you can find the points. Okay. So let me go for the next topic. Disaster management. Next topic is disaster management. So before going to that topic, can you give an example of global disasters for last 1 or 2 years based on newspaper reading or news channels you watched? What are the global disasters? Any good examples? What is that? Just give specific answers. Don't give forest fire. Where it happened? Amazon forest fire. Okay, one is Amazon forest fire. So is that you know that it becomes a political issue? Just for understanding purpose. Amazon forest fire became a political issue. How it became a political issue? How it becomes a political issue? Amazon forest fire, how it becomes a political issue? Just for understanding purpose. So what happened is global countries began to react for this Amazon forest fire. They thought that Amazon is the lungs of the planet Earth. But Brazil said, no, it's our problem. Don't interfere. Okay. A Brazilian president got irritated because all your global countries, prime minister, president giving suggestions, and he said that it's a local problem. Why are interfering, correct? And there was like a clash between French president and Brazilian president, correct? So Amazon forest fire is one. Then apart from this, so please understand this disaster management, it's in paper 3 of GS, but here we are going to see from administrative angle. Okay, administrative angle of disaster management. So next, any good examples of global disasters? Australian forest fire. Okay, Australian forest fire. Then any other thing apart from forest fire? Any other examples of disasters? COVID is a good example, correct? COVID is a global one. Where it all started? Correct? China. Still, we doesn't know the theory behind this corona pandemic. A lot of stories are there. What are stories behind this corona pandemic is? One is it started from the market. What other story they say? Is it's a bio war, correct? So we don't know what is the story behind it, correct? COVID is a good example, started from China. And what about the second wave? Is that building up, second wave? Is that in India? In India, second wave is building up or not? Which other states right now, the numbers are increasing a lot? Maharashtra there, apart from Maharashtra. Okay, Tamil Nadu is there, correct? Tamil Nadu is there, Kerala is there, correct? Okay, but most of us forgot there's a corona, correct? And we never thought in mind we have a corona pandemic, and especially after this vaccines news came into picture, people have such a confidence, correct? Especially in rural areas, they never think as corona, correct? Is that in rural areas they never treat corona as a pandemic? They're giving all the stories. It's a lie of US. It's a lie of Prime Minister Modi, correct? They're getting money out of it. Nothing is like that. It's just a fever, correct? So let's hope what happens. They say that it's building up. We don't know what will happen. Probably vaccines are getting ready. And what are the greatest advantage for India? One of the greatest advantage for India is ours is the most youthful population, correct? So impact on youthful population is very minimal when compared to the old age population. Can you say which country paid heavy price for that? Because their population is mostly old age, and during corona pandemic they lost a lot of life. Which country is that? No, UK is one. Apart from UK, the best example, Italy. During the corona pandemic, Italy deaths were very high. One of the major reasons is the population is morely old age population there. Okay. So COVID is one. Apart from this, any other good examples? Any other good examples of global level pandemic? So any other good examples of global level, it's not pandemic, any global level disasters apart from this? Anyone able to recollect any other thing apart from this? Floods, okay. Not, I'm asking from global level, India level we'll see it. India level we can see that. Apart from this, you can also see that nuclear accidents, correct? Nuclear accidents. Recent one is Japan. So based on this Japan only, we have this Fukushima. In Japan, there was a Fukushima nuclear accident. Based on that only, we have this Kodangulam issue. Okay. Similarly, in India level, so Indian level, what are the disasters? Recently in Uttarakhand, glacial burst, correct? Glacial burst. Okay, how many of you checked the glaciers in India? Clem's question. This is a glacial burst. Can anyone say what are the different glaciers in India, especially in Himalayan ecosystem? It's there in geography book, right? We know Siachen Glacier. Apart from that, what are other glaciers in Himalayan ecosystem? Anyone gone through it? Okay, Nanda Devi, that's the reason for this, I think, correct? Please go and check what are those glacial systems in India. So Uttarakhand glacial burst. Then apart from this, we have this, for example, landslide is there. Okay, landslide in Kerala, Idiki, Kerala. Next thing is Bhopal gas tragedy, correct? Biggest industrial disaster, gas tragedy. So during this Corona time, where we have this industrial accident during Corona time, Visakhapatnam, we got it, correct? And similarly, what other thing is tsunami, we can put it. Tsunami. So these are a few examples of India, disaster happened in India, correct? I don't know what is disaster means. Disaster means an event, disaster, an event in bracket, natural or man-made. An event in bracket, natural or man-made, that threatens the society with unwanted consequences. So this is called disaster. Okay. The next thing is aggravating factors. To understand what is aggravating factors means, an example, if an earthquake happens in Chennai or Bangalore and earthquake happens in Rajasthan, what will be the biggest impact? Very common sense, correct? Chennai, Bangalore, an earthquake, and earthquake in Rajasthan, what will be the biggest impactors? Chennai. Why Chennai? That will be biggest impactors. Okay, more infrastructure, especially population density, that we call as aggravating factors. Can you understand the point? For disaster, first aggravating factor is, first one is poverty. So how poverty can be the reason for disasters? How poverty can be the reason for disaster? Just use your common sense. If I am poor, why I get the biggest impact of disaster? I cannot recover. Then apart from this, what may be the other reasons? How poverty is the reason for disaster? I am getting the impact of disaster. A good example for this poverty and disaster, we need to go for a neighboring country, Bangladesh. What about Bangladesh in population? Is less populated, highly populated? Highly populated, densely populated country, correct? And geographically, where Bangladesh is located? Himalayas, Delta region, where it is located? It's entirely on Delta, because Bangladesh have two rivers, Brahmaputra and Ganges, correct? And you know that most of the population in Bangladesh is under poverty. And they said that people in Bangladesh, assume that this is a river, and they call this as floodplains. Can you say what is floodplains means? What is floodplains means? Anyone have an idea what is called floodplains? For example, this is the normal course of the river. Whenever the volume of the river increases, this is the maximum stretch river goes. That is called floodplains. And as people are there in under poverty, people get settled in floodplains, even though they know it's a danger. Can you say why they're settling in floodplains? If I'm in Bangladesh, I'm under poverty, I get settled in floodplains, even though I know it's a danger. Why I'm settling in floodplains? Very common sense, correct? Because there are two basic resources for my survival. What are the two basic resources? One is water, apart from this, fertile soil. Even though I know it's a danger, I'm getting settled there because I need to lead my life, correct? Even take example of tsunami. When 2004 tsunami happened, who lost their life? Fishermen or the people very close to the shore areas, correct? Because poverty is one reason where they are very close to the shore areas, correct? Fishermen. First one is poverty. And second aggravating factor, I'm just giving an example to understand poverty and disaster. Second one is lack of information lack of information and awareness. So lack of information and awareness. So my basic question is, right now if you take Chennai, what may be the biggest disaster that can happen to Chennai according to you? Chennai or any city is mostly, Chennai can be a good example, correct? What is the biggest disaster that can happen to Chennai? Okay, on a tsunami, apart from tsunami, any industries is located nearby Chennai that can kill people in lakhs? Within fraction of minutes, they can kill people in lakhs. What industry is that? We have this nuclear power plant in Kalpakkam, correct? My question is, right now in social media, there's a message saying that there's a leakage in Kalpakkam. Government is not saying anything. Probably that may be true. What we want to do? Right now there's a leakage in Kalpakkam. What we want to do? Huh? Evacuate. Entire Chennai will be in central and Coimbatore only, correct? Entire Chennai will be standing there only, correct? And the entire roads will be blocked. Then what the next thing we do is, evacuation is one. What the next thing we need to do? Any idea? Please understand, as a common man, we doesn't know what to do. Only thing we can do is make a video call to the family members, correct? Okay, probably this may be the last call. See us, okay. Don't worry about us. Everything is gone, correct? Right now we laugh a lot, but the reality is, as a common man, we are not aware of it. What need to be done, correct? And that happened in India. You know this Bhopal gas tragedy. Which gas was responsible for it? Any idea? Methyl isocyanate, correct? And once the gas leakage happened, people ran out. My question is, why in gas leakage people should not run out? You should not run during gas leakages. Why you should not do it? Very common sense. Because common sense is nothing but once you run, you are going to inhale large amount of gases. People were not aware of it. Government never created that awareness. So lack of information and awareness is a major reason for disaster. That's the second one. Third one is rapid urbanization. Third one is rapid urbanization. So how rapid urbanization can result in disasters? And please understand, right now we can see in last 10 years in India, urban floods are very high. One of the major reasons why urban floods are very high is because of encroachment in natural drainage system, correct? People go and encroach the lakes and natural drainage system. During rainy times, you can see that there's a heavy floods. Not only Chennai, Bangalore, every city is getting into that problem, correct? And I think Chennai floods, when happened, Chennai floods, how many of you were doing that during that time, Chennai floods? 1, 2, correct? Chennai floods. You can really understand what is Chennai floods means, correct? Chennai as a location, very extreme. Next 2 months, what is the extreme aspect of Chennai? Next 2 months. Okay, summer. You know what is summer means. Once you are in Chennai, you know what is summer means, correct? Extreme hot. And don't plan anything during the month of May for studying. You can't do it. You know that in computers, they say that processors are getting heated up, correct? Like that, you know how brains get heated up because extreme weather. And another thing is the October, November months of Chennai, very high floods. And during, I think 2015 was the time, I think so, correct? Chennai floods. There was one videos, people are going and rescuing the people got into flood situation. The name of the apartment was Lakeview apartment. But they found out that that apartment was constructed in the middle of the lake, not Lakeview. That is how people are encroaching the areas. Urban floods, rapid urbanization is a good example of disasters, aggravating factors. Fourth one is change in cultural practices. Change in cultural practices. That is also a reason for disaster. To understand what is change in cultural practices is, when you take farmer suicide, which state is very famous for farmer suicides? Any idea? Farmer suicide means which state strikes the mind? Out of 28 states in India, which state strikes the mind? We say farmer suicide means Maharashtra, correct? In Maharashtra, which region is known for farmer suicide? If you know that, that is well and good. If you are not knowing it, no issues. Is that you know in Maharashtra there is a place called Vidarbha. Vidarbha is known for farmer suicide, correct? But if you geographically go and check where Vidarbha is located is. So this is Western Ghats. And Vidarbha is located here. And can you say which crop is responsible for farmer suicides in Vidarbha? Anyone have an idea? Which crop is responsible for it? One is cotton and sugarcane, two major crops, especially sugarcane. I think in geography they finished off with monsoon, correct? Is that monsoon topic is over in geography? Not it, correct? In India there are two types of monsoon. One is northeast and southwest monsoon. And if you take southwest monsoon, it starts here, reaches India. In these two aspects, this is Western Ghats, in these two sides, where we get the maximum rainfall? Any idea? So this side, coastal area, this we call it as windward side. Windward side get the maximum rainfall, and leeward side, this is called leeward side, where there will be no rainfall. Vidarbha is located on leeward side. Can you say which crop may be suitable for Vidarbha region? Which crop is suitable for Vidarbha region? According to you, because low rainfall area. And please understand, cotton and sugarcane demand large amount of water. Millets may be the suitable one, correct? After 1991, after liberalization era, farmers want to enjoy the cash crops. Sugarcane is a cash crop, cotton is a cash crop. But you can see that Vidarbha is not suitable for these crops because it's on leeward side. Change in cultural practices, correct? If you go and check before 1991 Vidarbha cultivation, it will not be dominated by cotton and sugarcane. This is a good example of how change in cultural practices can result in disaster, correct? Even take example of corona pandemic, correct? For thousands of years, India evolved, correct? What we have as a way of life is suitable for it. Namaskar. But what we do is, we always try to want to imitate Western lifestyle, correct? What we do with Western lifestyle is hugging people, giving a handshake, right? All this being done right now in Western world, they are doing it. All global leaders, they are not going for handshake and all, putting namaskar and everything. Okay. So another good example of change in cultural practices, in Andaman Nicobar. What a unique aspect about Andaman Nicobar? Anyone have an idea? Andaman Nicobar Island, what is the unique aspect? You know these tribes. How many of you studied for prelims regarding these tribes? What are different tribes there? What are different tribes in Andaman Nicobar? That they'll not ask in prelims, please understand. Every island is related to a particular tribe. Go and check which island is related to which tribe. That can be a prelims question. And in that tribe, there are certain tribes comes under Negroid race. Certain tribes under Mongoloid race. Go and check which tribe comes under Mongoloid race. And there is one tribe called Jaravas. Is that population of Jaravas reducing a lot? Can you say why? Population of Jaravas reducing a lot. Can anyone have an idea why this population is reducing a lot? 1/3 population is dead right now. Can you say why? So there's a concept called human safari. What does human safari means? As a common man, if you go for Andaman Nicobar and say a tourist operator, I want to see a tribe. They take to Jarava populated areas. And these tribes will be dancing in front of you. And they are dying. Can you say why they are dying? Just use your common sense. Why they are dying? Just by seeing you, they are dying. Can you say why? One of the major reasons, once a child is born in India, what the first thing government does? For you, it's a son and daughter. For government, it's a resource, correct? What the next thing government does? They go for vaccination, correct? But in these tribal societies, there is no such vaccination. Once they come in contact with modern men, they're getting all new diseases. 1/3 population is wiped out. Can anyone say why this Jarava population is coming into contact with modern men? Why they're coming into contact with modern men? Other tribes are not doing it, but Jarava is doing. Why they're coming into contact with modern men? Any reason behind it? Don't think that it's for money. They doesn't know what is money at all. The major reason is food. Once they come into contact with modern men, they're giving some food items. Even that is getting impact on their health. They change in cultural practices. Before that, they go on hunt and gather food. Right now, they're not doing it. They're coming into contact with modern men for food. Change in cultural practices resulting in disasters. Okay, you can give the example of this Vidarbha and Jarava, human safari. And last one. Environmental degradation. Last one is environmental degradation. A good example is glacial outburst. Glacial outburst in Uttarakhand is a good example of environmental degradation. Okay, just go through the things what we discussed in today's classes. So any clarification or doubts, just go through it in today's classes. We have finished off with civil society and started with disaster management. Online candidates, any doubts, clarifications, just go through it. And always keep in mind, still Corona is there. Okay, don't take it anything lightly. Be cautious. And you studied for last 7 to 8 months. Compromising on these protocols can have a big impact on your preparations. Keep that in mind, correct? And in Tamil Nadu, until April, government will not be keen. Why government will not be keen until April is elections, correct? Even they will not give the true numbers. Keep that in mind. That's a reality. On that basis, don't assume that there is no corona here. The point is, even when you're going for public spaces, be cautious. For example, if you're going for a hotel or a movie halls, be cautious. Advisable is to avoid it. You sit in your room and start your preparations. If there is any necessity, be cautious. In this, don't believe the government. What government says, don't trust us, because elections are there, another 1 month down the line. After that only they'll give all the true pictures and protocols and everything. And that time, and also another thing, don't assume that because of this corona, UPSC will change something. Okay, only last year they done it. Probably this year they'll not do anything. That also keep in mind. Don't think like school and college days, correct? Exam date will be postponed. Okay, you don't create the rumors like that, correct? UPSC will not work like that. Last year only the extreme situation they have changed the date. Most of the time they'll not do anything. Okay. Any clarification, online candidates? So my mail ID just noted down. Sir, how we study government programs for general studies? NGOs and pressure groups, yes, please understand, NGO, pressure groups can be anything. NGOs can be a pressure group. Media is a pressure group. Pressure group is a larger picture. In that, NGOs also fit into it. Okay. So my mail ID is arankumar.d@shankarias.in. So this is my mail ID. If you write your answer, you can mail the answer to this ID, arankumar.d@shankarias.in. So regarding government schemes, my suggestion when you're preparing for prelims government schemes, first thing you need to focus is social sectors. Government scheme in social sector. What is social sectors means? What social sectors means? Health, education, and schemes on environment, you focus a lot. When you study schemes, there are 3 areas you need to give importance. One is what is the objective of the scheme. Second is which ministry is involved in it. Third one is who is the targeted group. This is the area UPS will ask the questions. They never ask a question on financial allocations. For this scheme, how much money is being given? They will not ask. If they want to ask these 3 areas, one is which ministry it comes and who is the targeted group. And next one is, what the next thing I said is, one is ministry, targeted group, objective. What is the objective? Okay, for example, if they focus on nutrition, whether it's adolescent girl or pregnant women, and which ministry is involved in it, that you need to give importance. Okay, regarding government schemes. Okay, any clarification today's sessions? Any doubts or clarifications? So shall we wind off? Okay, online candidates, shall we wind off the session? If we put yes, that be well and good. Okay then. Okay, thank you.